Hello everyone, welcome to this ninth session of the bookmark special series. We have already drawn 8 beautiful bookmarks using fragments. Yes, let's get started with today's session. Today again we are going to be trying a fragment, and this fragment is fragment S5. Yes, fragment S5. This is basically the reference number of this fragment in the Primer Volume 1, that is the book released by Zentangle headquarters. Now we'll again start with a boulder nib and draw a square grid. Yes, so I hope it is, yeah. So let's get started right away with a square grid. I'm using a boulder nib. You can also start with a double line grid. Yes, so let's see if we want to do that. First, I'm starting with a simple square grid. Just repeating the lines. I think that pen was little low on ink, and the last one here. Yes, and then as I mentioned earlier, you can either just divide and draw one line. Let's do one line only. Like this. Yes, so our grid is in place. Now I'm going to again do the same exercise the way we did in the last session. However, this time the fragment is different. It's not the same fragment. Yes, this is fragment S5. However, I'm starting in the same fashion. Yes. So first set of diagonal lines, again I will be drawing the second set just the way we did in the previous session. Right? So that's the first set. Now I'm going to cross and draw the second set of lines. Yes, when I do that, you just have to ensure that you don't cross lines. Yes, so again draw it in a hollow block fashion. Slowly take your time. Go to each of the sections. Like this. Yeah, so don't bother too much if the lines are not straight enough or shaky. Doesn't matter. Keep going. Yes, and the last one almost done. The lines can be thick or thin. The gap between the lines can be more. That's entirely your choice. Now I'm going to be adding some inking at each of the three corners of each of the triangles, like this. So it's basically a moon, crescent moon. Yes, at the three corners of each of the triangles which have been formed. Yes, now what I was saying is, to start with, you can even do these two lines as double lines. That is, the grid lines can also be double lines. That is entirely your choice. Now when I'm drawing the next moon, I'm trying to somewhere coordinate between the two triangles, but even if you don't, that's fine. So this one can be straight like this. Yes, moving on to the third. somewhat it should look like a circle, but even if it doesn't matter. But since we are drawing fragments, fragments is all about forming meta patterns, and the patterns will show more if the adjoining blocks are somewhere coordinated with each other. Yeah, that's the only thing. Otherwise, it's not a rule that you need to follow. You will form some kind of a pattern either ways. Yeah, so that's the fragment. All the four triangles, the corners, I have inserted a moon. Now I'm going to continue like this. So 1, 2 and 3. So you can do it like this also. Right, and then continue. Small moons add great drama. Like this. Now you can see here already there are a lot of empty spaces there. If you want, you can insert some lines there. Yeah, let's take a colored pen. If you want to add colors, you can do that also. I will use a colored micron to add some auras. So I have a pink micron with me. You can use any other colored pigment pen. That's not an issue. And now what I'm going to do is add some auras. But I'm adding it just the way you would do for crescent moon. Like this. Yeah, so one aura to each. That's the way I'm going ahead. Like this. Alternatively, what you can do is just continue and add aura to the center moon. Yeah, even that is possible. And both cases the look will be different. Yeah, so I'm going to do this. You can add auras straight away here also if you want. But let's not do that. Let's take one section at a time. Like this. Yeah. So I'm first going to complete drawing the fragment. Slowly take your time. Wherever you can coordinate with the other sections, do that exercise. Like this. And then add the other moons. Slowly take your time. You can see almost everywhere you can coordinate with the adjoining section. And if you can, then don't miss that opportunity because it will help you create that kind of a meta pattern. Yes, so that's how I'm going to continue. You take your own time, slowly go to each. As I mentioned, when you add one moon, you can add all at the same time so that you get that nice orb behind the lines. Yes, again, take your time and do that exercise. Yeah. And just hidden one here and here. Yes, so I think we are done. Let us now add auras with our pink micron. You can always add colors, or you can add anything else of your choice. As I mentioned, this is beyond the fragment. Now if you can coordinate the auras, fine. If you cannot, not a problem at all. Everything looks nice when it comes to Zentangle. Yes, so I'm trying, but if I cannot coordinate the auras, that's okay. So here I think one small portion of the moon would be visible, like this. And the fourth side. Yeah, so that is how I'm going to keep adding auras to all the sections. You take your own time, no hurry. Just make sure you add one aura to each. Yes, just the way you aura crescent moon. If you can coordinate auras, basically you should ideally be auraing each section at a time, because you never know. So it should be one aura to each of the moons in each of these sections. That's the way it should be, else there may be some confusion. Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead like this. Please draw at your own pace, take your own time, follow sequence, preferably as you aura. Pick each section and aura it in the same sequence. Yes, like this. One aura to each, two, 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 and then some intersecting auras. So I'm going to continue like this. Please do it at your own pace, no hurry. Enjoy the process of auraing. It's a very integral part of Zentangle method. Crescent moon is one of the basic tangles with which we start our Zentangle practice. So I'm going to go on and on like this. Slowly go to each section and add the auras, taking one section at a time, following a sequence of aura. Trying to coordinate the auras but not being too particular about it. That's fine. It would be difficult to coordinate so many auras. So wherever I can show it as an extension of the auras in the previous section, I am doing that. If I cannot, and we are done. Yes, so as far as shading this fragment is concerned, it would be a good idea to add some graphite at these intersections where lines are intersecting. So you can either shade with your graphite pencil, or if you want you can add some pink there. Yes, so let me pick up my pink color pencil. So this is my color pencil and this is the colorless blender which you may not use, and I'm just going to add some pink here like this. So it's not actually required that you use a blender, but if you want to soften it a little, because the paper does have tooth, so you can use it like this. Yeah, so that is what I'm going to do at each of these intersections, keeping a little dark at the beginning and just taking it away. You actually don't need to use the blender, it's a small tiny space. Yes, so just using, if there is tooth of the paper showing, then I just kind of push it into the paper. That's it. So I'm doing exactly the same thing as I would do with my graphite pencil, just that it is a colored pencil. Yes, so please take your time. Slowly go to each of the intersections like this and complete your shading. I don't think you need to do anything else to this fragment. Yeah, so there is another set of lines. For these lines I'm just going to add some shadow at the two ends. So that they are not absolutely white. You can also add something here, but I don't think I'm going to do that. But you can if you wish to. And then just pull it out a little like this. Touch of pink on the lines, they are not absolutely white, so looks soothing. Yes, that's about it. I don't think we need to do anything else. You can add shading inside here also, but I want to abstain from that. Yeah, so let's do another similar looking fragment on the other side of this bookmark. So my square grid is in place, and now I'm going to do a very similar fragment, which is the fragment W5. There are many fragments which use the tangle, crescent moon in so many different ways to create fragments. Yes, and these fragments are, especially those with crescent moons, create beautiful meta patterns. So one more such fragment is W5, which we are going to now draw. So again, I am starting with these two lines. Now if you want, you can draw all the lines in the same direction, or you can alternate it. That's entirely your choice. Yes, so we can change the direction, alternate the direction of the lines, do a zigzag instead of keeping all of them in the same direction. So I'll again be using moons in this fragment also, but a little differently. In the previous fragment, we added moons at each of the corners of the triangle. Now we will be adding it on the sides. So I'm drawing lines in a zigzag fashion. That is also going to vary the meta pattern that will be formed. Yes, and that's the fun part of fragments. Now I'm going to add a moon on each of the sides of the triangle, like this. And then I'm going to add just one aura, like this. Yeah, so this is the fragment. So this is the next triangle. As I mentioned earlier also, you can have the grid lines also double lines. Yes, so these lines can also be double lines, and then you create a third kind of a pattern. So one moon on each of the sides of the triangles that we created. Not an issue if they are touching each other, not an issue if they are not touching each other. Yes, so I'm going to continue like this. Now when I go to this triangle, I will try and coordinate. Yes, when I'm drawing on this side, I'm trying to coordinate. When I'm drawing here, simple. Again, this side I will try and coordinate. Yes, something like this. Let's go ahead and draw this fragment inside each of the sections. Take your time. Coordinate the moons if possible. So as I mentioned, after drawing these double lines, you can also, make these lines, the grid lines, also double lines, add an additional aura, and that will also give a totally different look to your fragment. So I'm going to continue like this and complete this fragment. Do it at your own pace. This fragment, we have these empty spaces in each of the triangles which can be comfortably colored. So probably use your brush pen and add a dash of color inside the triangles, the empty spaces. If you wish, you can add anything else, or you can leave it as such. So I'm almost finishing on the last section. Doing the same exercise, adding a moon with an aura to 3 sides of the triangle, coordinating with the other side wherever possible. Yes. And the last triangle here. And we are done. Yeah. So as I mentioned, there are so many ways you can go about shading it, but I'm going to go with some simple pencil shading. So what I'm going to do is add some graphite inside here. Yes, you can in fact take it over the moons also, although there is no point adding graphite on the blacks. And then I will just blend it to create a nice enclosure kind of a feel. There's so many ways you can go about shading this fragment. Yeah, so I felt like shading it like this. You can please shade it on the grid line, or you can shade these lines, the dividing lines. Please feel free to shade it the way you wish to. I'm kind of highlighting the center squares or diamonds. Yes. Almost done on the last section. Yeah. Now if you wish, you can use any color and color the rest of the empty space. Yeah. So I'll use a brush pen. So I have my orange brush pen with me, and I'm now going to just simply color the rest of the empty space with orange. As we did in the previous fragment, if you want, you can fill up the rest of the space with auras also. Yes, so that is also possible. Just take your time and fill up the rest of the space with any color of your choice. Yeah. So this is how the fragment looks like after adding that dash of color. Yes, that's about it. Let's close this session now. Yeah. So I shall see you again with last session of the fragmented bookmark series. Yes. Till then, have a good time. Bye bye.